In this video we will take a look into how to wire an Arduino with a Adafruit Servo Driver and two servos to be later be used in Bottango to manipulate movements in a Droid. On this screen you can see my electronics or hardware setup that I'm going to be using for the remainder of this video series. On the left hand side on the bottom you have the Arduino Mega 2560, next to it the Adafruit 16-way servo controller, and on top just any regular breadboard that I'm using to connect the 12-volt power that the servos need into the Adafruit Servo Driver. Connecting the Arduino board with the servo driver is pretty straightforward and only requires 4 wires. I took 4 different colors, but you can take whatever wires you have. So the next pictures will show you which of the ports on the Arduino you have to connect to which port on the servo driver. But as I said, that is pretty straightforward and very simple. Let's go through the connections wire by wire. We will start with the top left hand corner of the Arduino and connect the SCL port with the SCL port of the servo driver. Next we're going to connect Arduino's SDA port with the SDA port of the servo driver. We will continue on the bottom left hand side of the Arduino board and connect the 5-volt port with the VCC port of the servo driver. And finally the ground port of the Arduino with the ground port of the servo driver. As the servos need their own power and cannot draw it from the power provided by the Arduino board, you have to feed in 5 volts and ground on top of the servo driver from an external power source. Connecting servos to the servo driver is also a very easy task. You just have to connect the 3-way connector of the servos with the corresponding pins on the servo driver board. They go in vertically, and you have to just make sure that the yellow signal cable of the servos is connected to the yellow pins on the servo driver. In my case, I've connected the first servo, the smaller one, into the very first connection pin, which is the one on the far left hand side of the driver board. For later, it's really important that you remember that in many IT situations we start counting with 0, not with 1. So although it's the first servo connected to the first pins, in Bottango later it will be numbered with pin 0. And the second servo, the larger one, will go into the connection right next to the one that we just connected. This concludes the physical setup that we need to do to start working in Bottango and learning how to configure and how to manipulate and automate our servo movements. But that will be a topic for the next video.